Raise your hand if you're married. None of you are married. Raise your hand if you would like to be married to your baby's father. One. The rest of you who don't plan to get married, why don't you plan to get married? I'd like to know that.
You already have your child to think about, and then a whole family to care for. You know, it's a lot of responsibility, and then you don't want the commitments.
I wouldn't want no man holding me down because I think I can make it as a single parent.
Now, before we proceed, the key word she said, she don't want no man holding her down. Where does that come from? Why does, and these are young women, this is back in the day. These are young women, you know, they have children, they're single mothers, and they already have the mentality that a man is going to hold them down in a negative way. You don't want a man holding you down. What would he be holding you down from? You've already given him a child, and now you're taking care of the child by yourself. So how would a man hold you down? See, the teaching and the mentality was already implanted. This is the mentality a lot of young women had. So this is where it stems from. They already were indoctrinated into this idea that they didn't need a man. But having a child with one was okay, whether he's there or not. You see what I mean? Let's continue.
Don't you think you might need help in raising that baby from a man?
Not really. I didn't have a father. My father wasn't in the home, so, you know, it really, male figures are not substantially important in the family.
I ain't thinking about holding up father no sex, my man. You know, if a girl, you know, she get having a baby, carrying a baby, hey, that's on her. You know, I'm not gonna stop my pleasures because of another woman.
What about birth control? What about condom?
Girls don't like them things. They don't like them things. They'll tell you to take them things off. They figure that you saying that they filthy or they dirty or something.
It's been a startling change in values. 25 years ago, you would not have heard such things said so freely because they were not embraced so widely. The strong family was still the backbone of Black America, and 3 out of 4 children had both parents at home.
3 out of 4 children had both parents at home at one point. And we know that that's drastically changed. And it has a lot to do with the upbringing, government assistance, and all these things that you know, and your choices. You have to look at your choices as well. And we can't ignore the male side of this as well. Because you clearly saw what this man said. Oh, well, them girls, and there are a lot of women who don't like to use condoms. Let's be truthful about it. They didn't like them. That's why they were getting pregnant. Some of them said that they irritated them and they didn't care if the man used it or not. You know, all of these things are true. There's a bit of all of this that's happening. It's not all this person doing it or all that person doing it. It's a combination. You know, I always say, look, when I was raised in a certain environment, right? And within that environment, I saw a bunch of single mothers. That's all I saw was single teen mothers. Let's be clear. Single teen mothers, like these young women in this video, very much like this. As I got older and got out of that environment, I started to see other things. I started to see husbands and wives and families, not just Black families, but different races of families and more people who have, you know, husbands and families. So I had to realize, listen, this is not an example of the entire world. This is just my small anecdotal, you know, positioning. This is what I see on a daily, but it's not a culmination of everything that's going on in the world. So you have your area of what you see, and there are other areas of different things that you see. And it wasn't until I grew up and got out of that hood environment and got out into the world more, then you start to see other examples of different things. Let's continue.
That is true no longer. Most Black children are now growing up without their fathers. The result is a world turned upside down as children copy what they see and repeat what they learn. LaDawn said she didn't have a father in her home and doesn't think her children need one. She's not unusual. Half the Black families today are headed only by a woman. Clorinda said she could make it on her own as a single parent. She has never been married and is raising her daughter without a man's help. She's not unusual. Today, nearly 60% of all black children are born out of wedlock. Timothy said his children are not his responsibility. He has left them to be supported by their mothers and welfare. He's not unusual either. For LaDon and Clorinda and Timothy, and many more like them in cities all over America, the traditional family no longer exists. It has vanished, and something new is taking its place. Single women and the children they're rearing alone are the fastest growing part of the black population. What becomes of the black family in a world where the values are being turned upside down?
If the parent is 17 and 18, uneducated, unmotivated, fooling around, wandering around, what's the child going to learn? Who's to teach them? When you learn something, you was taught by your parents. It was reinforced by school and your neighbors, but it was taught by your parents. Well, if the parents don't know anything, how are they going to teach the children? So it's not racism that I'm fighting right now. It's the lack of motivation. You see, I'm not even talking about racism. Maybe later on we'll get back to that.
The nuclear family is just done away with. They don't see the importance of it. Everybody is convinced they don't really want that family, even though they say they want it. They don't really want it because they've been brainwashed into thinking that, oh, it's no better than being out here single, being a 304. You know, being on my own and taking care of myself because I can get to the bag is way more appealing to the masses. Everybody's thinking, oh, I don't need a man. I could do this by myself, baby. I could travel and I could do this and I can have this lifestyle where you just spending all your money as soon as you make it. It's supposed to be so great. It's supposed to be so appealing to everybody to just be able to go out here and blow money. And that's what y'all want. That's what y'all want to. And then when you're blowing the money and you lose your job. Now you're crying, looking buck-eyed and distraught. Like, what is I'm going to do? Like, you don't know what you're going to do because you know how much money you spend and you know how much money you need to come in. And if that money ain't coming in, you're screwed. So now you go to panic and wondering, oh my God, you know, what day I'm going to do, becoming depressed because you didn't consider life's ebbs and flows. You didn't consider ups and downs. You considered nothing. Oh, I want this, I want it, and that's it. And I'm going to provide it. I don't need a man. A man ain't shit. And I got my kids. I'm going to take care of them. When the kids start acting up. Now you're talking about places where you can go and drop your kids off, give away your teenagers because you can't handle them as a single mother. Oh, just throw away your responsibility because it's too tough. But you don't consider the fact of how fathers are important and very needed in a household. That you just go out here and open them legs and get a baby for anybody and then complain about the outcomes and that you can't handle it by yourself. It's just mind blowing.